Yellow, welcome back to NYCC Live. We're at New York Comic Con, and Kara and myself are here from Comixology, your one-stop shop to get digital comic books. Speaking of comic books, we have a dear friend of ours. Dear friend, Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn. Welcome to the stage.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me out today.
What a day it is for you, honestly.
You know what? It's day 1 of 4, right? Everybody out here, I assume, is just getting warmed up, right?
They are.
It's
They're
Thursday.
pumped.
Everybody's got the energy.
They do.
It's always fun to sort of go back and talk to everybody. I'll come and see you guys in 4 days, see if you guys are still.
See if we're still alive.
Your last interview on Sunday would be like, so tell us what you're doing. Are you having fun?
How's the
Boom,
con?
done. Right. So we're here. We're at the front of it.
There's a lot of things we want to talk about with you, but there's breaking news that just happened today in the world of Spawn. You're re-teaming with a dear old friend of yours.
Right. So look, I've been doing Spawn comic books for a while. Been trying to find the right team, but there's one guy I've been trying to work with for a year on a steady basis. I mean, I've touched him before. Eric Larson, my partner.
Huge.
I've hooked him to come on the Spawn comic book, starting with the big Satan Saga War, right, which is this big, giant, epic battle where he goes into hell and just goes, I'm taking it down. The whole establishment, I'm taking it down. And I go, nobody could do it other than Eric. And, oh, by the way, as I was talking to Eric, he said, why don't I just stay on the book? And I went, wow, what? I thought you had the dragon, right? And,
Savage Dragon.
But he said, no, I can do both because I'll just help you plot and help you write, and then I'll do some really rough layouts, and then you ink it, and we're going to just do this tandem hybrid look that is just, we've already started it, and it's cool. I mean, I feel like I'm 20 years old again.
You look great.
Just doing comic books that used to energize me when I was a kid, right?
Yeah, that's
just
what
going,
it's
this
all
is what it's all about, just like big wow stuff, right? So, yeah.
And you guys hadn't worked together since maybe like Spawn 199?
Yeah.
Now this is kind of like starting things over again, but just really hardcore.
Yeah, well, Eric, like I said, Eric is a guy who is really particular about Dragon. Nobody can touch Dragon. It has to be exactly the way that it is, and he's always been like that. And so, but I've always nudged him, going, I think I could do some cool inking over you. Just give me some loose pencils and let me ink over you. I did a cover over him not long ago, where he did a little drawing like on a napkin, and I go, hey, scan that, just that drawing, scan it, and let me just ink it, and became a cover. Right, and the drawing is super rough, but I don't really need a lot, right? It was why when I worked with Greg Capullo, he was awesome because he just put enough on the paper that I could then go and do my job, and he didn't worry about. A lot of the young kids today, they almost etch their pages with their pencils, and there's no fun inking them because it's so tight. My mom can ink it, right? It's just I don't even know. They might as well Xerox it. They don't even need an inker. And so I like the guys who just sort of go, and in about a half an hour the page is done, and I go, I'll take it from here, and I get to have a little bit of fun.
That's so interesting because we don't normally hear about that relationship between the penciling versus the inking, and it sounds like when you're doing it, you're trying to like capture like the feeling of it and the motion of it.
Yeah, well, look, if any of you guys ever do a drawing that I ink over, here's what I will tell you: it will look like your artwork, but I'm going to put the Todd sexy on it. And where I put the sexy on it, no, it's true. Where I put the sexy on it is, if you just put a couple of lines that are going to be the belt, I'm going to make about 50 lines in the belt, and it's going to look like a leather belt. It's going to be the coolest belt you ever saw, right?
Worn leather belt.
Yeah, and if you're in your shoes, I'll put the little, but I'm not going to really change the face. I mean, I'll probably do some stuff to make the hair look a lot cooler. but when you step back, you will go, it's that artist. But as you get closer, then you get to go, oh, and Todd was on there too, right? So I always say when we're doing a comic book, because you have a writer, penciler, inker, colorist, and letterer, you can't take ownership of any page at any of those positions, because the more you do, the more fun you're taking away from the next person. So if I fill it all from top to bottom with pencils and I give it to you to ink, you're just going, I guess I'm going to trace it, and then there's no room to color,
yeah.
And there's no room, and so nobody gets to have any fun down line. And so the reason that I thought that when I was doing Spawn with Greg that he was fantastic was that he he understood there was 5 people on the book, and we're going to all share in it, and we're going to all add our little ticks to it, and at the end, the whole was better than the parts. And because I show people go, wow, you know, you and Greg and Danny used to do some cool stuff, and then I'll show them like Greg's pencils, and I go, look at this page. It sort of looks a little naked. And they're going, yeah, they don't want to say it because it's Greg Capullo. Yeah. But I go, okay, now you saw it. Now let me show you the printed page with Danny Mickey, with colors, with word balloons, and with a little bit of texture, and it's all filled in.
It's a team.
And I go, but Greg didn't feel the need to have to do it all himself. He understood that part of it. So.
Who here can we talk to trademark the Todd Sexy? Is that something? Can we get T-shirts made? Because I would wear that constantly.
Oh, I got sexy by Todd, right? Which basically means I inked you, right? We could do it.
Yeah.
I would hook you up.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I believe it was issue 200. Robert Kirkman, creator of Walking Dead, he actually drew, and he's not the best artist on the planet. He's a pretty good writer, but he's not the best artist. He drew the first 5 or 6 pages, and I inked them. Go look at those pages. He looks good. I'm telling you, he looks good on those pages because he's actually knows what he's doing with the pencil. But again, he was like, all right, Todd, now you finish it. And I go, it looks like 2 guys that know how to do comic books, right? He's good.
Yeah, it sounds like this new project is just such a good fit for you because you seem really into that whole collaborative spirit when it comes to comic books.
Look at here's something I don't think people understand that much. Doing a monthly comic book is a lonely occupation, right? It's like being a novelist. For the most part, you lock yourself into a room by yourself for hours and hours and hours. Maybe you listen to music or listen to some ambient noise, but it's just you and the work in front of you, right? You can't talk and do stuff, especially if you're writing, right? If you're a novelist, the same thing. You have to go and sequester yourself. So I don't think that people understand that since it's a lonely occupation, the joy that you have to have has to come out on the page. So when I was doing things like Spider-Man and stuff like that, I was really drawing for myself. It wasn't that I didn't want to draw like John Romita Sr., who was brilliant. I just go, I'm in this room and I just want to do some fun stuff for myself because it's the only way I'm going to get through the deadlines. Yeah. And so with Eric and what he's brought to the paper, we're now going to be back in the room. We've both done it for 20, 30 years now. And all of a sudden when you can get that jolt, right, that little jolt of energy, that Red Bull kick, if you will, we're back. And so hopefully Eric and I will just feed off each other and we'll just rock and roll and we'll do it. And even if nobody likes it but Eric and I, it'll still be worth doing, right? Because 2 of us will be happy at least, and it'll work okay.
If I want to change gears real quick.
Yeah.
People know your Spawn empire, but you have a whole other empire, and it's like the toy empire, The Walking Dead, the Game of Thrones, Halo.
Yeah.
It started out with, I think, Spawn, but
yes.
How long ago did that start? What made you want to get into that, and now it's become so huge?
Here's I'll give you the quick history of the toy company. We started Image. Spawn went to the top of the charts. People would then, around, to do licensing stuff, would look at the chart and they go, hey, Spawn sells better than Batman and Superman. Must be more popular, right? It was a little bit of a jump. And then they'd come and they'd go, hey, we're from Pajama Company A, and we would like to do Spawn. Or we're from Color Forms, or we're from, the Toothbrush or coloring books. I go, why you want to do a license? Well, we see you're at the top and you're more popular than Spider-Man. I go, you haven't read this book, have you, right? Here's a copy. You should go and read the book, other than looking at the charts. And it's a guy from the pit of hell, right? So you may want to do it. Now, they all laughed to go read it, and they never came back, right? So, but the pillars that I wanted to start with when I left was I wanted to do TV, movies, video games, and toys. Those were the 4. I figured if I could put those 4 pillars down and a body of work on top of it, I could stack it pretty high. So we quickly made the deal with HBO for the animation. We made the deal for the movie with New Line. The video game stuff came out, and then the toy guys came, and every one of them came. Mattel came, Jax I think came. I forget. There was like 5 or 6, wherever the big players were at that point. They all came, and they made their offer. And I could just see that what they wanted to do was to just take Spawn, this sort of, I thought, sophisticated sort of hero, and they wanted to just put it in their formula. And I go, they're just going to do the same stuff and put it next to their Teletubby toys. It wasn't going to sell, and then they were going to hand me back my damaged brand. Saying it doesn't sell, Todd. And my conversation with all of them was, I think you need to make non-traditional toys and sell them in non-traditional places. And they couldn't understand that. They're big public companies. They couldn't figure that piece out. So eventually I just went, I'll do it myself, right? Let me just tell you, making toys is plastic. It's plastic in a shape. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. It's plastic, right? They call it cheap plastic goods for a reason. You can do it fairly easily. So it's not that complicated. You make molds, and you carve stuff in a shape. You make a mold, and then you get to do tens of thousands of them, and all of a sudden you're in the toy company, and we're off to the races. And that started at Spawn, and then I knew I couldn't just rely on Spawn. I had to do other brands. So now we're fast forwarding. I just got the deal on Game of Thrones. We've been doing The Walking Dead. We've been doing the sports. So we've been doing it for 20 years now, the toys, right?
So
and we continue to do it.
You must be doing something right.
Yeah.
But Todd, I appreciate you taking the time out. Get Spawn on Comixology.com.
Yes.
You can get The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones. I don't even think that Game of Thrones stuff is out yet.
No, the Game of Thrones comes out next month. Toys R Us, Amazon, and GameStop.
Boom. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out.